Hello and welcome to BLAXIT to Africa. My name is Tadra Delora Mounier, a California native living my best life in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. I hope that you are informed, entertained, and inspired to BLAXIT to Africa. Guys, I wanted to hop on here really quickly and just talk about the protests in Kenya. But before I get into it, I just wanted to keep it 100 like I always do and really explain to you why I have been absent for so long. When I started BLAXIT to Africa, it was meant to be a limited series. I got one more series left in me. And the reason why I have one more series left, one more season left, is because there's more that I want to communicate. I may hop on here briefly to drop a line to folks that are seriously interested in BLAXITing to Africa, but as far as the highly produced episodes that I was doing previously, I just don't have it in me to do it. It may have looked like it was real amateurish, and in fact it was. However, there was so much planning that was involved. There was me coming up with a topic, of course, researching the topic, writing a script, making sure that the lighting was okay in my home and no one was outside, meaning I had to get up super early to film and, then recording and then spending a whole day just editing and uploading. And I just don't have it in me to do it. People have been hitting me on YouTube and on Instagram like, where are you? We've missed you. And I've been minding the business that pays me. The fact of the matter is that African creators get paid very little. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if African creators were paid the least amount of all the world, of all the creators in the globe. I wouldn't be surprised. The last time I checked, Spotify wasn't paying, AfriPods was not paying, Apple was not paying, iHeart was not paying. The only platform that was paying African creators has been TikTok and YouTube. So in order to cut down on just the amount of effort required to communicate this message, I even considered just doing an audio podcast, but then I wouldn't get paid at all. And just to be completely transparent, even when my videos got, 1,000 plus views, I'm still only making $100 a quarter. That's crazy. So I said initially that I was in it for my people. This is a love letter to my people. That has not changed at all. However, I'm going to come up with a topic. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to put it out there. Very little, if any, editing at all. And I hope that it's well received. I hope that I could come to you in my pajamas. I hope that I could come to you without makeup and you'll still receive the message and I'll still receive the love. But, it is what it is. And shout out to all the African creators that really are doing the damn thing. You deserve sponsorship. You deserve all the love. But I'm here for you, and I'm here to encourage those who are interested in escaping from the tyranny of the global north and leading a slower lifestyle, a lifestyle in which your immune system, your central nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system can relax. I'm talking to y'all. So just so that Auntie can stay on target, I do have my notes over here. So if you see me glancing over to the left or maybe to your right, that's exactly what I'm doing. I would be so negligent if I hopped on here to talk about BLAXITing to Africa and did not discuss the protests that have been happening in Kenya. It's been real, y'all. It's been really real. We have been experiencing protests in Kenya. The people have spoken, and hopefully the government of Kenya has listened. The protests in Kenya over these last few days have been over tax hikes and new tax proposals. To be perfectly honest with you, these taxes that they're proposing that will impact the people of Kenya, these are taxes that we have been paying in the United States for decades. Ain't nothing new for us. The issue is that most Kenyans do not have the salary that will be able to compensate for this increase in taxes. We can argue in the United States and Canada and other places that, hey, we are overly taxed as well. However, generally speaking, we have salaries that can cover these taxes, that can compensate for these taxes. Already, Kenyans are struggling with high inflation. The cost of living has increased to the point where people are really having to buckle down and sacrifice on purchasing basics like cooking oil, like ugali flour. And ugali flour is a staple. It's like grits. So it's just a fuel cost. Fuel costs were subsidized by the government. They're no longer being subsidized. So people are really struggling. Like the average person is really struggling. And then you come through with, oh, we're going to raise the taxes because we need to cover our international loan debt to the IMF. Meanwhile, those in power are living these luxurious lives. It's not looking good at all. The Kenyan government has stated that the new finance bill was designed to close the national budget gap. But Kenyans are saying we can't take it no more. And we taking to the streets. And to be perfectly honest with you, I've been feeling like I've been feeling anxious. I guess I've been feeling guilty because I haven't been out in the streets. There are people who are on these internets like, why haven't expats been speaking up? Why haven't expats been saying anything? You're enjoying the fruits of our labor. You're enjoying our country, our infrastructure, our beauty. And yet y'all been silent. So, I've been posting on Insta in which my dad hit me up and was like, you real political, you need to be careful. But this is my background. I've led protests in the US on campus at Indiana University. I have been involved in protests in Ghana when I was at the University of Ghana as an undergraduate student. I was working in South Africa and just happened to stumble upon a people's protest, a workers' protest. I was like, oh, what's happening? What's going on? Oh, we protesting. And then I joined the protest. Protests in Africa are real. They bring out the guns. They bring out the guns. They bring out the tear gas. It ain't nothing to laugh at. And I've heard the guns from my flats. I live in between the State House and the CBD, the Central Business District. I'm in between there. And most of the protests were happening in the Central Business District in Nairobi. We could hear the gunshots. I could smell the tear gas. And it's been very triggering because for those of us who have grown up in the hood, let me not say us, because to be honest, I didn't grow up in the hood, but I've spent time. I've spent a lot of time. It's the heightened police presence, the helicopters. In LA, we call them ghetto birds. The gunshots, It's been real triggering, really triggering. But unfortunately, it's a part of the fight for freedom. So many people have been shot and killed. The media is only reporting 5 people. It's been more than that. They're reporting like 11 injured. It's been so much more than that. Uh, then also at the State House, there were plans to storm the State House. So, I live near the State House, very near the State House. So, coming and going has been difficult, a minor inconvenience given that people are fighting for their freedom. They're fighting for their rights. As a precaution, the Kenyan government military has decided to block all roads leading to the State House. So I don't think there have been any people that have been able to pass that didn't actually live in the neighborhood, that didn't actually have business in the neighborhood. But it's been a lot, and like I said, I've been feeling angsty. I've definitely said prayers and just feeling like I should be joining in on the protests. But I said, you know what, let me leave it to the young people. Even though Obama's sister, she's been out there. I've been seeing young people, older people, going out there to protest as well. People have been coming to our apartment building and leaving their cars here and walking over to the protests. And I've been seeing some older people in the mix. Overall, I've felt over the years, I've learned to let Kenyans handle Kenyan business. I've learned to do that because whenever I go inserting my Americanisms, it usually doesn't end well. And then I end up becoming the target. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just let Kenyans handle Kenyan business. But just want to put it out there to any Kenyans that are watching. I feel you. I hear you. My prayers go out to you, your loved ones. And I get it. And I'm proud. I'm so very proud of Kenyans. The energy in Kenya right now has been very eerie. It's been very tense. It's been very anxious. The protests just haven't been in Nairobi. They've been throughout the country. And the youth have really stepped up and they have led these protests. Everybody's been talking about Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Z not having it. And as much as people talk shit about younger generations, I think right now most of us could say we are proud. Now, to my people that are still interested in immigrating to Kenya or you were considering immigrating to Kenya, don't take Kenya off the list because of these protests, because of these uprisings. I never lived nowhere on the planet where there were not protests. It's a part of life. This freedom ain't free. So don't take Kenya off the list. I'm trying to think. Maybe Uganda. Maybe in Uganda there weren't any protests. But that's only because they're not allowed to protest. And I remember when, George Floyd happened and BLM was at its height, and there were people like us, like me, saying, why aren't people protesting on our behalf? We always rioting for Africa. Why isn't Africa rioting for us? And I remember my Ugandan friends talking about, like, we don't have that right. Black Mamba is no joke. Black Mamba is that arm of the military that they say will beat your grandmother in the streets. Um, so that's probably the only place I've lived where I haven't experienced protests. But protest and the right to protest is a marker of democracy. So don't think that this is a marker of instability or that you should take Kenya off your list. I love a people that will overcome their fear for freedom. And that's exactly what Kenyans have done. Ultimately, I just wanted to shine a light on what has been happening, and also to say that utopias live in the mind. And if you want to experience a utopia on this planet, unfortunately, the way our species is operating, you have to fight for it. There is no perfect place on earth, but I applaud the people who are willing to fight for their idea of the perfect place on earth. That's it for now. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for riding with me all this time I've been absent. And God bless. And I'll see you next week. That's a promise.